where here we are 2 years later, and you are now the guy, top person for vaccines, and you're saying, well, Omicron will only be over when masses and masses of people get it. So we've all been on a bit of a journey, and perhaps where we've ended up is a little bit more humble about our ability to micromanage a transmissible virus like this.
Yeah, no, I hear what you say. It's true that, a lot of people say, I can understand that and I can even agree with that. It's very difficult, or it's almost impossible to stop a respiratory virus to infect people. We know that. But I think, I don't know if it's hubris, I think that there was a real sentiment, honest sentiment, that we could do better, because we also had in mind other coronaviruses that we don't talk about anymore today, like SARS, like MERS, that are respiratory viruses, extremely dangerous, that have a lethality of around 10 to 30%, and there we were able, we as humanity, to stop the spread of those viruses. So I think that's the beginning, as the first steps. We hoped that we would be able to do that. After that, we realized that it's more difficult, but we wanted to limit the spread. And then, there are three possible ways to deal with such a pandemic. One is you do nothing, and we saw the results. Perhaps you will get herd immunity, perhaps, but there is a high price. Second, zero COVID policy. I'm not talking about China, but take, for example, Australia and New Zealand, that had a very tough, I would say, very tough restrictions, and at the end of the day, we know where they are. And you have the rest of the world that had, some lockdowns and some kind of normal life, and then lockdown, and then some restrictions. To what? To get vaccines, to get treatments, to delay, to flatten the curve. So I think it's very easy to talk today, and it's not over yet. That's also a message. It's not over yet. It's very easy to talk today about vaccines and treatments, or some of the treatments, and a variant that is less problematic than the previous variants. But again,
I guess one way to ask the question is SARS-CoV-13 or COVID-23. When the next one hits, what would you do differently? Would you, if you're advising the government in Israel, would you be more cautious about suddenly going to lockdowns and transport?
Yes.
Things? You would. So explain that.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think that one of the and this is what also Israel is showing right now. Okay, that we almost have no measures. Put aside the green pass. We have no lockdown. Everything's open. Bar, restaurants. We have no. People will behave accordingly. You have people that are vulnerable that say, okay, I won't go out. I prefer not to get out. So I think that we have learned. There is one mistake I think that we made, and that I'm extremely sorry for that. We have made a few mistakes, but again, is education. For me, education was the thing we shouldn't have touched. Never.
No school closures, no sending universities home.
Exactly. This will have some repercussions in the future, and that's the thing, I'm extremely sorry about. We know, for example, we closed schools. We know that other countries didn't close schools, and I'm jealous of that. Again, true, especially in Israel, education has such a high, it's such a high priority. I'm sorry that we did what we had to do. Some of us, went and talked to politicians. I remember myself at the Israeli parliament, arguing that, lower grades are not, at danger, if they stay open, etc. So, again, I think that there are some lessons we have learned, but dependent on SARS-CoV-13 virus, it's so dynamic that you cannot say, okay, I shouldn't have done a lockdown with SARS-CoV-2. Let's not do a lockdown again with SARS-CoV-13, because possibly if you have a very contagious virus that is also extremely symptomatic, the best thing to do is a short lockdown to kill it off and then to go on with your life.
So you're not promising no more lockdowns for future viruses?
I'm not promising anything, and I'm also not making predictions. Only, in Hebrew we have a saying that says that prophecy was given to the fool.
Let me ask you to make one prophecy more, and you can reject it if you want, which is, you said that you think the Omicron could be the end of the pandemic.
I don't remember saying that in that way, that the Omicron is the end. I think I said that the Omicron can accelerate our transition to a state where COVID-19 is endemic. I'm not saying that, I don't think, and that's perhaps a prediction, and I hope I'm wrong, but that's a reality. I don't think that COVID-19 is going to disappear from our lives in the years to come. Okay, I think it's going to be like flu. I think it's going to be with bad waves and better waves, with a better immunity at the level of the population, with better vaccines, with better treatment. So I think that in that sense, and I'm extremely cautious, there is a possibility that Omicron will accelerate that transition because of its nature, because of the fact that so far, when people were, I would say, infected with a variant, they tend to be, even with the next variant, more resistant, not fully resistant, what we're saying here. But there are also unknowns, like, for example, we know that the COVID-19 can infect animals, so there might be a new virus, a variant that we develop in animals, or a recombinant virus. So in the short time, I think it will accelerate. Yes.
Do you think we could have got to this point earlier, this state, had we, in a sense, tried less hard and, for example, allowed younger people at very low risk profile to get it? There was that Great Barrington Declaration idea, and we interviewed those authors. Do you think those ideas, in retrospect, have merit?
I can understand them, but I think it's extremely easy to talk 2 years afterwards when you have vaccines and we have a better understanding of what is happening, and you have potentially treatments and a variant that is less problematic and less, causing severe disease. So, I mean, I'm not a proponent of let's open everything for the young. That's what we're doing right now, more or less. And let's protect.
So you are a proponent of it now, but you wouldn't have been earlier.
I wouldn't say I'm a proponent. I'm extremely, I have, some reservations and criticism about almost everything. I'm a scientist, of course. But what I'm saying is that in the current situation, to some extent, it makes sense because this is what we are doing. We just, we are saying right now in the news, as people that are, in the news, to the old people, listen, the Omicron is not amenable to control. So for the vulnerable people, even if they are vaccinated, stay safe, stay, at home if you can, etc., etc. But to say at the beginning, when we didn't know enough about the virus, when we didn't have vaccines, to young people get infected, no, I cannot do that. I have people suffering the consequences right now, working in my lab, of a bad COVID infection, a year after that, with cognitive problem, etc., etc. So there are also consequences to them.
The world which you're describing, where vaccines are effective at reducing serious illness and death, but ineffective at stopping transmission, does that mean then that everyone should make it a personal choice whether they want to take the vaccine to protect themselves or not? In which case, should we stop this sort of culture war against so-called anti-vaxxers, people who don't want, for whatever reason, to take the vaccine? It feels like it's become an obsession, and they are now the sort of scapegoats, they're the evil people of society. Should we just, now that Omicron is here, leave them alone?
I think that vaccination is a personal choice, and I always say, I believe it is so. But to that choice has some consequences. And here, there's a problem in the society. If you are over 50, 60, and you're saying, I don't want to get vaccinated, will you be, and I'm going to ask a provocative question, will you be willing to renounce on the possibility of getting taken care of in hospitals, because if you get into a severe disease, you're 50, 60, and we don't have enough beds to treat people, you will force, and that's a given, you will force doctors to decide, between this 80-year-old person that got vaccinated but is most likely going to die, and this person that has more chances to live even if he's not vaccinated. There are some consequences. I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm just saying that it's a very complex question.
But then smoking, for example, or
that's correct. Obesity,
or motorcycling, or any of these things that increase your risk, it's a dangerous road to go down, isn't it? To start withdrawing or making medical treatment conditional on people's life choices.
Yeah.
Невероятно.
Посмотри мне в глаза и скажи.
Yeah. I fully agree. I told you it's a complex question. I'm not saying that this is a solution I'm advising for or whatever, but I'm just saying that it's not easy to say. What I'm trying to say is that it's only my choice. It's not true. It's not only your choice. Okay, to some extent. It's true that it's more your choice when you are younger, and I respect, again, I'm saying I'm for the choice. I think that you need to have the possibility to decide what you want to do with your body. It's a given for me. I'm just saying that when you say it's only my choice, to my humble opinion, it's not true.
Final question for you. It's a bit of a left field one, but you're an expert in cancer as well as immunology. There's a lot of talk about cancer.
Иными словами, коллективная ответственность за то, что ты жирная дрянь, и коллективные деньги налогоплательщиков расходуешь, да, понимаешь, к примеру. Да, да, так. Да, понимаешь, он тебе, много чего, да, понимаешь. Да, я тебе просто говорю, какой-то просто, да, понимаешь. Когда-нибудь это будет запрещено для тех, кто останется в живых. А тех, кто сейчас, да, то есть, а потомки тех, кто обжирался, что с ними происходит, к примеру. Понимаешь? Меня это не волнует, я просто, соляви, как говорится. И, никому не интересно. И вопрос, да. Что ты со собой делаешь, своей нравственностью, да, я просто понял, что... Чего? Да, и дальше. Да, так это, да, наверное. Просто как-то... Да, это не принято так говорить сейчас. Да. Так я тебе говорю просто, потому что, наверное, это так. Ладно, да. Нет, принято, просто...
I would say in the past 10 years, 15 years, that the immune system is central not only against pathogen but also against cancer. Will we get to a point where we have cancer vaccines? I don't think so right now, because a disease like COVID is not cancer. Cancer is not COVID. These are different things. But I do believe that with a better understanding of the immune system and ways to tweak the immune system, perhaps it's not really vaccine in the purest sense of the term, but with a better understanding, and immunotherapy is doing that, we will have better treatments for cancer, yes.
Professor Cyril Cohen, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Ferdinand. Thank you for having me.
Let's just take stock of what we've just heard. This is Professor Cyril Cohen, the top man in Israel, or certainly one of them, for vaccines, an advisor to the Israeli government about clinical trials for vaccines, someone who has been throughout the process of COVID-19 advising on these various jabs. He says green passes, vaccine passes are no longer relevant in the era of Omicron, so let's take heed those countries that are now doubling down on them. He says that big mistakes were made, that schools and universities should never have been shut, and and he said that Omicron, current variant of COVID, is likely, he believed, to be part of the end of this pandemic. So it's just a sign of how far we've come. Those of you who've been watching us for the past couple of years will remember how fraught these kind of discussions were with some of the early experts back in 2020. It's a very different atmosphere now, and people seem finally to be converging that living with COVID is the only way to go. Thank you to him, and thank you to you for joining. This was Unheard.
All right. Am I on here? Oh, okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Uncommon Core lecture, the causes and consequences of the Ukraine crisis. My name is Michael Volchak. I attended the university from 1986 to 1991. I got a bachelor's in political science and a master's in international relations. Professor Hirshheimer was a tremendous influence on my life. Completely revolutionizing my worldview, changed how I looked at international relations, politics, just everything. In fact, he was such a big influence on my life that, when I went home for the summer, between one of the school years,
Плохо, плохо, плохо. Времени нет, понимаешь? Что я могу вам, женщины, пожелать и посоветовать? Не тяжело. Не знаю, я все проехал. Не знаю, ничего не надо жевать. Жевать, пожевать, что могу жевать? Ой, еще что? Это все. Сколько можно это одно и то же делать уже? Ух ты, какой, блин. Писание. А, это он имел в виду. Ладно. Супер. Да. Да, не против. Да, вот он тебя помнит. Да, мелкий. Да, мелкий. Мелкий. Да. Все видимо. Мы говорим еще. Ладно, заложился. Вот наоборот. Вот это и вот это не надо. Ладно, я как раз таки влюблялся. Да, ну вот это он. Ну, наоборот, так ну, наверное, да. Ну, да. О себе так думает он тоже. Ну, это что тогда такое? То же самое, что ли? А, понял. Да. Ну вот это было. Вот это было. Круто же. То есть жить-то хорошо. Жизнь хороша, жизнь прекрасна. Thank you. Very hi everyone. Flash D, hi, thank you. Diego, hi, I'm gonna go sleep. I'm sleeping. Thank you very much. Half an hour. So, that's консерватор, не парень, консерватор. Мало играю.
Получите квартиру в Москве. Закажите бесплатную дебетовую альфа-карту Visa. Каждая покупка – шанс выиграть.
I guess it's timer. Sleep timer. Oh, thank you, Ginger. So appreciate it. Hi there. Gotta go. Gotta sleep.